In Congo's east, armed occupation and insecurity have displaced farmers, preventing them from saving seed, planting and even harvesting. The failed harvests are pushing up prices in Bukavu's markets and stirring fears that hunger is looming. Despite the hurdles being faced in the farms, the education system is sprouting. Here's a report.
In the marshes of Bushumba, fields lie flooded and fallow after weeks of fighting in Kabare territory, forcing farmers like Sikuru Mwarugamba to abandon their planting season. Returning to her 2 hectares of beans and cassava, she found shoots stunted and tubers rotting in waterlogged soil. Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has been swept by renewed conflict since January 2025, when the Rwandan-backed M23 rebel group seized Goma and pressed into South Kivu, including Bukavu. Their advance reopened major roads once choked by militia checkpoints, yet left rural areas vulnerable to banditry and sporadic clashes, displacing thousands and disrupting livelihoods. The combination of armed occupation and insecurity has brought food production to a standstill. Without safe access to their land, families cannot plant or harvest, pushing up prices in Bukavu's markets.
During this period of war, the beans we had already planted. When we fled the war, we abandoned everything. We left with the remaining seeds that we were supposed to plant, but we ate them where we fled to. Now, upon our return, we found that what we had planted was already spoiled because we hadn't done the weeding. Rats also ate what was left in the field. That's why we won't have seeds for this year.
Traders report the price of a measure of beans rising from 4,000 to 5,000 Congolese francs as merchants turn to samples from Goma to fill gaps left by failed harvests around Kabare. Some like Beatrice Bahati in Kabare Center have improvised solutions. Too fearful to return to distant marshes, she converted a small plot beside her home into a steep garden of sweet potato vines, hoping it will provide food during the dry season.
In my opinion, this risks being complicated, even in the long term, because if producers, upon their return, don't have access to seeds, it will be difficult for them to plow, cultivate, and harvest. So it's practically famine that's looming.
Aid agencies in both rebel and government authorities now face the urgent task of securing farming areas, restoring access to inputs and markets, and preventing South Kivu's silent fields from tipping the region towards famine. And as farmers focused on yields on their farms, tens of thousands of secondary school students took state exams in rebel-held Eastern Congo this week, a complicated logistical feat requiring rare cooperation between the government and M23 rebels. The state exams administered across the sprawling Central African country for students hoping to go to university will continue through mid-June.
Les épreuves depuis le premier jour se déroulent.
The tests since day one are proceeding normally. We had concerns in certain areas due to threats the day before, but since Monday everything has been going well. Of the 44,000 registered, about 41,900 showed up.
I feel happy. I feel at ease. With the war, our friends died. Others fled to neighboring countries. But today, I was able to finish my exam in secure conditions.
Human rights groups have repeatedly accused the M23 of executing civilians, including children, allegations the group has denied. President Felix Tshisekedi's government announced last month it was waiving exam fees, which normally exceed $40, for students in North and South Kivu provinces, citing insecurity. While M23 has previously said it seeks the ouster of Tshisekedi's government, the group's leader Bertrand Bisimwa says that it still recognizes Kinshasa as the administrator of national exams. Africa Bureau, WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.